Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review. Lianne La Havas, Is Your Love Big Enough? Lianne La Havas is a songwriter, neo-soul and pop soul singer, as well as guitarist, hailing from the UK, whose debut full-length LP dropped much earlier this year. I'm on it pretty late, and it was preceded by some pretty catchy singles like the title track and the song Forget. Good songs that I kind of had, my issues with, which sort of made me hesitate to really get into the album and listen to what was going on. For example, the title track on this thing, the singing on the verses, it just kind of feels like very, unmemorable vocal improvisations of the lyrics that Lianne is singing. It's not really bringing a lot of heat for me. And the song Forget, which wasn't all that deep lyrically, but I actually loved the sounds on that track. It felt so colorful and clunky. The instrumentation, it was just, bulky and loud. I love the way the percussion on this track just stomps and stomps in the hook. The Forget. It just kind of feels like there's sort of an African vibe coming out of that. And I love the do-do-do-do-do, like background vocals. The bass line is great. I just think this track is so layered, just so many nice little musical chunks going on at once. When it comes to soul, both of these tracks are very colorful, very kind of futuristic for me, but there's not really much about these tracks that I find to be all that silky or smooth or fluid, which is totally a feel I get from artists like Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu, or just soul music in general. However, I did find tracks like that once I finally got to listen to this and got into the deeper cuts. There are actually quite a few patient, slower, and more dynamic ballads on this LP than there are clunky and poppy singles. I actually think that in the greater scheme of things, these very poppy singles are balanced out nicely by these ballads. And also in Lianne's music, I found a really strong sense of melody. I heard just the sheer power that her voice has in terms of pitch, volume, and emotion, and there's quite a bit of folk music that kind of wiggles its way into the recipe through Lianne's guitar playing and her songwriting too, like on the track No Room for Doubt, which is a duet with Willie Mason, and there's actually some really nice sweet jazz chords on the ultra cutesy track Age. Overall, it's just a really seductive, multifaceted, and very enjoyable album. The LP opens up with this track Don't Wake Me Up, which has these eerily manipulated vocal harmonies all over the track that just feel icy and robotic. It's beautiful and sort of dark at the same time. It's just haunting stuff for me. And this track, like others on here, has a fantastic and subtle growth of instrumentation as the song progresses, really making things pretty tense, pretty engaging. In my opinion, it's actually one of the better openers of this year. Now, after the title track of this thing, this LP settles down into a depressing piano ballad where Lianne is singing these lyrics like, "You taught me to hate myself and be somebody else." The piano, just the music that's being played is actually pretty beautiful, and when the subject of the song and the meaning of the lyrics finally hit me, it was like, wow, what a contrast of feelings. I love the atmospheric tones that pop up occasionally in the background. The guitar playing has quite a bit of finesse to it too. Around the halfway point of the LP, Lianne pulls a cover out of her bag of tricks. It's actually a Scott Matthews cover of the track Elusive. And the song was once a very somberly strummed, I would say kind of like an indie folk song, very understated, but she's really transitioned it into a finely plucked, beautiful piece of neo-soul, and I love the ascending vocal harmonies that she has all over that track. There are some vocalists who do not sound great with their voice sort of layered over itself with foreground and background vocals, but that is most definitely not the case with Lianne. Now, the back end of this LP is where things sort of quiet down, slow down a little bit. It's not my number one favorite part of this entire LP because I feel like simplicity can sometimes be Lianne's friend and maybe sometimes not so much. Like the guitar-driven everything, everything, just like acoustic arpeggios all over that track feels, I guess, kind of repetitive, somewhat underwhelming. It just makes me kind of pine for all those colorful and flamboyant sounds that were on the first half of this LP. However, the piano ballad Gone on the latter half of this thing, I actually think is one of the more powerful tracks on here. I mean, Lianne's voice and her emotions just reach a breaking point toward the end of this track as she just gets more and more intense singing the chorus of this track. The closing track on here is great. It's a nice, strong finish for this thing, but again, I do feel like toward the end of this LP, without some of that extra instrumentation that was in the beginning of the LP, this album does lose some of its creative flair, some of its definition. Overall on this LP, I feel like there's a strong foundation of playing and songwriting. There just needs to kind of be that consistent creative flair that makes some of the tracks on here just amazingly memorable and kind of unique. Because I do feel like there are elements of this album that border on eccentric, but are not quite there, I guess. I actually enjoyed this thing quite a bit. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this album. If you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, How Big Is Your Love? Forever.